Okay, so we are at the barn and we are doing a mouse hunt. Not a live mouse hunt. We're looking for dead mice. So this is what I did. I baited the shop 2 weeks ago. Within a couple of days, I came up with like 12 to 14 dead mice. I'm still finding them. I've been reorganizing and doing some cleanup in there for my husband around his workbench. Things tend to not get put away, and it starts driving me nuts, and I can't find anything. So it's getting to be the end of the year. I have some shop projects I want to do in the winter, so I baited the heck out of the place. We're lacking in cats. We're down to one right now. And it's really hard to find barn cats. So people are wanting me to adopt barn cats for $25, $50 a piece. Mouse poison. So it's 4 pounds, and it's probably 20 bucks, maybe a little less. So I had baited the shop. Had just a small pouch that I picked up at Tractor Supply. So now I went through a few days ago and seen what's happening in the barn, because I saw one dead mouse today when I went over to go feed the chickens. So let's take a look around and see what we can find. So this is the bait that I'm using. I picked this up at Tractor Supply, and this is what it looks like. It's about a 2-inch by 1-inch block, and they're actually supposed to go into feed stations that you can put anywhere that you have a mice issue. In the barn, I'll tell you, those extra feed stations could be helpful for catching mice, because then they have to come in and eat it. But in my situation, if raccoons or possums, anybody else comes and eats this and dies, great. So I just toss them up in the loft. I went around, I checked for dead mice. It's been less than a week. My feeding blocks are gone. So whatever has been around here to eat them, I only found a couple of dead mice. But you can see I've got areas here where they burrowed into old bedding. And I was here the other day and I moved this live trap and I saw a mouse run up into there. Which, you know, I'm not mean and cold-hearted, but I cannot stand mice. I hate cleaning out the barn in the winter and then finding all that. So I'm just dropping some of these bait blocks here and there where I know the mouse will be going through. They tend to travel along walls, so keep that in mind. But I'm just throwing them in. So for today, the mice that I have found, all the mice that I found today were over in my feed room. Now, I know they're in the straw and in the hay bales. When I get to work in shoveling manure, I find them. I find holes that they've burrowed through and made nice little homes. I even found some remains from some chickens that I didn't know were missing. And just now when I came around, that hawk was sitting there on that feed bin, or on that feed wagon that got emptied, sitting right here. Most of my chickens were smart enough to go inside. He went right down to the end of that barn. He just perched right up there and waited. He wanted to know if I was going to stick around or not. Red-tailed hawks. So, this is my feed room. This is where they were. I got my feed bin here. Found a woodchuck in there the other day. If he eats one of these and dies, one less thing I have to deal with. It's easier for me to dispose of dead animals than to shoot them myself. I hate having to do that. Not a fan of it. That's why I don't use like mouse traps. But this way here, I'm putting a few of these around this feed room. And, you know, there's open fields everywhere. I'm definitely in no shortage of mice. So, when I get up into the hay and the straw, I'm sure I'll find a lot more mice then. See, I'm just tossing them. It is too much work to climb up and down everywhere when I can just toss it. We've got the tall hip roof barn, and then we call it the low barn. It was actually a barn addition. And it has a loft also, but that loft is empty we wanted to have it totally cleared out for doing some barn repairs. Ooh. Yeah, stumps of grass. This is where I had fed. This area is full of clumps of grass from feeding the cows here. All that hay grass replanted itself here. So I'm just tossing a few here and there. I did want to say I put one of these in my grain bin, and that's the only place I've seen an actual mouse out in the open. And today I saw one mouse in there. Usually I see 2 or 3. I don't want mice in my grain. But this long hip roof barn, I probably put about 10 of these in there the other day. I did not find one today. So I'm expecting to find some more dead animals. I did find a dead possum in the shop the other day that I didn't know was there. I think he probably reached his demise from that fly bait. Do you have large animals like that? Fly bait and soda. Put a bowl of that. It kills them fast. I know people squawk and say it's not humane, but you know what? It's not humane to have them stuck in a live trap for 24 hours or longer, waiting for the husband to get home and shoot him, and then find out he's going to work late and doesn't get back to him again for another day or 2. So I think this is pretty good. I'll put 1 or 2 more here in this grain bin. I've got some old soybeans that we've been using up, and it's our original grain bin. It had a lot of rust eaten away at the doorway at the bottom, so it doesn't quite set right down here. They like to get in here. So he used some of that plastic field tile to make a ventilation system for the floor in here. I'll show it to you. So I've got all this black pipe underneath these beams. You can see there where it's a little bit gray. For some reason, we had condensation along the wall up there and a little bit of drippage. And then there's a vent door that has dripped a little bit. So they got kind of musty and yucky. When they're ground up, it doesn't much matter. So I just drop one of these in here. And I can see little spots over here where they've been going in. Put that right up there. They'll come along and eat it. Besides climbing up here on the door, mice can climb, I tell you. So that pipe, he had it hooked up to a blower fan out here. It's coming out right there. So they found the end. Looks like it's here off of this one. He didn't hardware cloth the end of it. We've got a second one here that went to the blower motor for it. Hardware cloth the end of this if you're going to do this, because this is a nice little tunnel for them to go on in. Nice clear path for them. So if there's any way in for the mice, they're going to get in. And there's just fields and fields and woods around here. They have been in everything. I find raccoon poop in everything. I find mouse poop in everything. I can't stand it. We've been really lucky with the amount of cats that we've had on the farm in the past, that we've only ever had mice in our house twice. And about 4 weeks ago, I guess, we put a decon bait trap in the house, and it probably took maybe about a week. About half that bait block was gone, and I finally found, well, the boys actually found it, a half-dead mouse in the basement. They trapped it. I scooped it up and got it out of the house. I have another bait trap down there. It is nearly gone, and I have not found another mouse yet. And Jack's telling me he heard a mouse in the basement. Who knows? So in comparison, from the decon to the Tomcat, I highly suggest this. If you can, forego the bait feeding stations, because anything big, a rat can't get into those little traps. And like I said before, if there's a rat here, I'm heading back to the city. I can't stand rodents. Squirrels are barely tolerable. Just not a fan. So, I'm going to feed these cows. That's what made me think of it. I got my beans behind me. Again, using my little wagon, I use the heck out of it. It's very handy to have, and I love it. I'm a big fan of Tractor Supply. Anything I can go down the road to go get is awesome. There's 3 or 4 of them in our area, so I really like it. So I highly suggest this. Go and buy some. It's cheaper than cat food, folks. I'm getting plenty of dead mice, and I know it. I'm seeing them. So their body count is rising, and that means safer, cleaner feed for our barn. So, bait some more of these guys. Get my cows fed for the day. Remember, hit that like button, subscribe for updates, and I'll see you all next time.